So after you were on your own, what did you find about life?
I used to take care of the private jets that used to come into the UK, the private, owned jets. I would receive the people, take care of them.
Kind of tourist agent?
No, not tourist agent. It was working at
airline.
It's
for the super rich?
with the airlines, but for the super rich, for the billionaires who own their private jets, and so I was in charge of, taking care of them, facilitating things for them, and that was a period of my life that was very pivotal and very important because I got to know many people who were at the top of the food chain of the world, and
the big guys.
And to know and to realize what is the mentality, how they do it. I did not know at that time. I was too young to realize, but the fact that I was exposed to that later on came in handy, that I saw the difference in mentality that these people had. What made the difference between these billionaires and the average person?
Can you explain that a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. What is it? The difference?
It is much later on, because at that time I was just working. I didn't pay attention at all. Oh, they're rich, they're not rich, they're not rich, and that's it. Yeah. Much later on, when I got into the field of understanding the mind and understanding why certain people are successful and certain people are not successful, then what happened in that job came in as an unbelievable experience, because I realized it was not hard work that made you successful. It was always something, the way they thought and the way they acted and the way they believed in themselves. And those characteristics made all the difference into the success or not success.
So it's the key success factor that they believe they can do things.
They believed they believed they could do things. They were characteristic, and those characteristics were internal, inner, and mind characteristic. They were not external skills. They were not education. Many of them had not even got their high school diploma. Many were not. And so it was not education or skills. Yes, they got experience with time, but the real difference was internal, and it was mindset.
โอเคเล่าก่อนนะ
พี่เล่าไหม
เราถามว่าสุดท้ายก็หลังจากที่ตัดการดูแลจากผู้ปกครองเขาก็ไปทำงานที่อังกฤษกลับไปได้งานเป็นงานดูแลคนรวยของโลกที่เขาใช้เครื่องบินส่วนตัวเป็นองค์กรที่ดูแลหาโรงแรมให้อะไรก็ตามแต่ก็กลายเป็นข้อดีที่เธอได้รู้จักกับคนรวยแล้วก็ค้นพบว่าคนที่ประสบความสำเร็จในด้านการงานในธุรกิจเนี่ยไม่เหมือนคนธรรมดาอย่างพวกเราอย่างท่านผู้ชมหรือผมแล้วเราก็เลยถามว่าแล้วตรงไหนแล้วที่ไม่เหมือนผลที่ได้รับกว้างมากครับเขาบอกว่ามันไม่ใช่คนที่เรียนสูงไม่ใช่มีความรู้เรื่องนี้เป็นพิเศษไม่ใช่คนที่ทำงานหนักไม่ใช่คนทำงานหนักไม่ใช่คนขยันทำงานหนักสุดท้ายมันไม่ใช่เรื่องของสิ่งเหล่านี้ที่แยกระหว่างคนประสบความสำเร็จกับไม่แล้วตกลงมันคืออะไร
เขาบอกว่ามันคือความเชื่อว่าฉันทำอะไรได้พูดง่ายๆคือความมั่นใจในตัวเองอย่างเต็มปรีล้นลงมาฮะ
ว่าฉันทำได้
แล้วพอเชื่อว่าทำได้ก็ทำได้จริงๆแต่ว่าคุณมาฮาก็บอกว่านี่เป็นประโยชน์อย่างมากความรู้ตรงนี้เป็นประโยชน์อย่างมากในการงานของเธอในช่วงชีวิตที่ผ่านมาเรื่อยๆมาเป็นโค้ชแต่ว่าเรายังไม่ได้พูดเลยนะเธอเป็นโค้ชอะไร
ยังไม่ได้พูด
แต่อันนี้เป็นหนึ่งในทักษะที่เธอได้ใช้ในการงานเธอ Before we talk about your present job we want to talk about why did you learn about it in the first place because from your background we understand there were down period in your life that suicide
like everybody we go through ups and downs in life and we have an image of ourselves and a dream for ourselves and achieving that dream is something that gives us a lot of happiness and also our place in society but what happened is that I did the work that I was doing in England and then I met my husband, I got married, and then I was sitting at home. I wasn't doing much. I did not need to go out to work.
This is in Indonesia, right?
Before moving to Indonesia, I was in London, and then I moved to Indonesia later on. So in London, I wasn't doing much, living the life that most people think is the life, but it's not.
You mean you quit your job?
I quit my job.
And be a housewife?
I was a housewife, and I used to go out to lunch with my friends and go shopping and things that people dream about. But the truth is, you do it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 6 months, and then, it loses its appeal. There is nothing into it.
It's your idea or your husband's idea to quit your job?
No, it was my idea to quit the job. That I thought that I did enough and there was too much. So I would sit down. Actually, the idea was I would take time off to find something to do.
Okay.
But somehow the life took over and I did not do anything. So, and after that, I fell pregnant. I got my daughter. I moved to Indonesia and I still was doing nothing, sitting at home.
Literally doing nothing.
Well, I was a housewife.
I see.
That's not nothing at all. It's not like I'm sitting 24 hours.
But that's no purpose.
Nothing that has anything to do with how I was supposed to be.
ช่วงที่แยกกลายเป็นช่วงที่ไม่ต้องทำงาน
คือหลังจากทำงานสักพักที่อังกฤษไปเจอสามีนะฮะก็แต่งงานแล้วก็รู้สึกว่า
เป็นแม่บ้าน
แบบเบื่อแล้วไม่ทำงานแล้วเหนื่อยไปหาค้นพบตัวเองในชีวิตดีกว่าก็เลยออกจากงานไปเป็นแม่บ้านนะฮะอยู่ที่อังกฤษแป๊บหนึ่งแล้วก็จากนั้นพอมีลูกปุ๊บก็ย้ายกลับไปอยู่ที่อินโดนีเซียกับสามีระหว่างที่ไม่ทำอะไรตลอดหลายเดือนนั้นอาจจะถึงปีก็ได้ซ้ำนะฮะก็รู้สึกว่าเริ่มว่างเปล่าเริ่มแบบทำไมฉันควรจะไขว่คว้าหาอะไรที่เป็นแก่นของชีวิตหาความฝันให้เจอไม่ใช่เหรอฉันมัวแต่นั่งทำอะไรอยู่นี่แต่ขณะเดียวกันก็ยังไม่ทำอะไรต่ออยู่ดี so after a few periods pass with that lifestyle when did you achieve your lowest point and how did you know it what's your lowest
I started being I knew I would go out for dinner with people and then I would be sitting and then people would say, oh, what do you do? Someone would say, I'm an engineer. Someone would say, lawyer. Ladies were sitting. I run a company. I do this. And then it's my turn to say what I do.
Mommy's job.
And I would look and I'd say, oh, I don't do anything. And I felt really bad about saying I don't do anything. I felt I was less than everybody there because I was not supposed to be this. And every time it came to what is it that I'm doing in this world, I'm not really doing something. I'm not contributing. I am not anything. So slowly, I started feeling feelings of failure, feelings of not being worthy. And I started not wanting to go out, not wanting to meet people, because every time I went out, I was reminded. So I stopped socializing. And then I don't want to go out for dinner for a restaurant because I don't fancy any food. I don't want to see a movie because I think I'm going to, what for?
You're dead inside.
Yeah, so you start losing taste for life itself. I had no more energy. I was not animated. I did not meet with people. I did not go out. I closed everything. And it kept on going to the point where morning would come and I really don't want to get up from bed.
How long for that period to be like
that? It was at least 2 years before I was diagnosed with being bipolar disorder, which is a very big, move between being very depressed and then being very high. That period became very much a black hole in my life.
That led you to the suicide?
After a while, when they started giving me these medicines are very dangerous medicines. They make you like a zombie. I realized I really don't like anything in life and I'm not useful to anybody. And I started having these feelings that it is better not to be here. Because every morning you wake up, you're suffering. You're just suffering. So at that point, I thought, okay, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to commit suicide. I don't want to kill myself. I just want to stop the suffering. So the only way is to do something like kill yourself. Yes. And because at that time in my mind, I didn't have the resources to do something else. So I started doing things that would lead me to die. Like stand in front of buses or take overdoses of pills. So at some point it became more and more, and then it became an obsession. I wanted to do it because I didn't want to live like that anymore. And then it happened that I took a lot of pills, and I almost died. I went into coma for 3 days, but I didn't die. I came back. So these things kept on going until one day it had to stop.
ไม่น่าเชื่อนะเกิดเรื่องใหญ่ขนาดนี้ได้กับชีวิตคนที่ดูเหมือนจะดี
มีทุกอย่างฮะมีลูกสาวมีครอบครัวบ้านรวยมีของใช้อะไรเพียบพร้อมแต่ว่าการที่คนเราไม่มีเขารู้สึกไม่มีแก่น
ไม่มีตัวตน
ไม่มีประโยชน์ต่อโลกใบนี้อยู่วันๆก็แบบไม่ได้ทำอะไรเพื่อผู้อื่นทำเพื่อตัวเองอย่างเดียวช้อปปิ้งกินข้าวไปออกไปกับเพื่อนแต่ว่าไม่มีเป้าหมายอะไรในชีวิตก็รู้สึกค่อยๆตายข้างในลงไปช้าๆ
Not following a passion and not having a purpose is a problem.
แต่อันนี้เป็นการแบบทำให้สั้นขึ้นง่ายขึ้นที่จะมองอะไรต่ออะไรอย่างนี้
ใช้ในชีวิตประจำวันได้
ใช่
And the power of being aware is the most unbelievable power you can have.